You've heard all the reasons that you should start a newsletter or email list. You agree it's something you should do. So you started researching. You've gotten lots of tips and strategies, but the more you learn about email lists, the farther away you feel from actually being ready to start. That was certainly me. It was on my radar for years to start a newsletter, actually use the email list I had gotten from my company. The more I worked towards that goal, which in the beginning means researching, the farther away the goal actually got. I just kept coming across more things that I needed to learn and master before I could possibly start. But once I did finally start, I realized there's basically 5 things that need to be on your to-do list to get off the ground with a newsletter or email list. And speaking of getting started, quickly before I do, hi, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel. I run a productivity software business, and here on YouTube, I make videos about productivity and organization. Today, I'm going to give you the steps for starting an email list, as well as the key info that I have heard over and over again from the experts, and I also see as a consumer myself. You don't need to take notes while watching because I've already taken the key points and put them in this checklist that you can get for free, of course, at Simply.Digital/email or by following this QR code. And that, my friends, is an example of a freebie, also called a lead magnet, and it's the first topic we're going to cover. We're going to go over these 5 things that you need to set up in order to get up and running with your email list. And we're going to go over them in the order that your potential reader will interact with them, because we always want to be putting ourselves in their shoes. So at the beginning of a new subscriber's journey, they come across you somewhere, your YouTube channel, your podcast, your social media, business, anywhere. You have this person's attention for a brief moment, and you want to pull them deeper into your world so they can see more of your content and potentially someday become a customer. You could just ask them, but personally, if I watched one TikTok from you and you asked me for my email address, that would be a hard no. Every time I give someone my email address, there's a little risk there that they will be annoying, or worse, sell my info to a bunch of annoying people. You need to earn my trust, with earn being the key word. Now, going back to the ask. Instead of you asking me to give you my email address, you offered me something. That's a very different dynamic and a really nice way to start a relationship. So that's the mindset you should have when coming up with freebies to offer your potential audience. It needs to be valuable enough that a person will say, hey, I want that, and it's worth the worst case scenario of having to delete some emails and unsubscribe from this guy's list. That's not such a high bar, but it is a bar you have to clear for people to sign up. Now, real quick before we leave the topic of freebies, here are some different ideas for different freebies you might want to offer. This list is also included in my starting an email list checklist, which you can get at Simply.Digital/email or following this QR code if you don't like typing. See what I did there? That plug for my freebie that goes with this video is also serving as my topic transition for the next thing we're going to talk about, which is landing pages. So you've offered me an intriguing freebie, told me the URL. I go there and I see a landing page. A landing page is a very simple one-page web page where I can enter my email address and possibly my name. Somewhere on this page, I see the freebie I was offered, either like a thumbnail image of it or the name of it, so that I know I'm in the right place. But there's really nothing else there, no way for me to get distracted. So that's what you need. How do you actually make that? First, let's start with the URL. You will notice that I'm giving you a URL, Simply.Digital/email, that a human being could reasonably type into their browser. I'm going to call this the pretty URL for this video. That pretty URL is going to forward me to probably another longer URL. I'm going to call that the ugly URL. For example, the software you end up choosing for your email provider might also make landing pages for you, but those landing pages will probably have a long, ugly URL, and that's not the one you actually want to give people. So you're going to want to have a way to forward a pretty URL to an ugly URL. Personally, my company, Simply.Digital, has a WordPress site, so I have a WordPress plugin that I can just add redirects like this. Bitly also does this. There's a lot of ways to make URL forwards. Besides making the URL pretty, this is an important step because in the future, if you change your email provider, if you change your website, and that ugly URL is different, you have like a new URL for your landing page, you can just update that forward. So for example, I made some old landing pages on ConvertKit and I don't use them anymore. And I can't go back and change old YouTube videos where I give the URL, but I just have to change that forward. And then the URL that I've given in those old videos still forwards to the correct new landing page. So that's the first thing you need as like a sub-step for setting up your landing page, is how are you going to make pretty URLs and forward them on. You may have noticed that I also provided a QR code. I'm an Adobe girly. I used to work for them as a software engineer during my San Francisco days, so I use their generator. A YouTube channel that I like to watch is Disney Food Blog, and they're always promoting their freebies with a QR code. And what I find myself doing as a viewer is screenshotting that QR code, and then I finish watching the video that I'm enjoying and I go, get it later. And what a great workflow, right? Because I can keep watching the video and they don't have people leaving YouTube in the middle of the video, which is something algorithms are not that fond of, by the way. So I think adding a QR code is easy enough that it's worth doing to make it that much easier for our potential subscribers. But it is also something you can put off for now, just to after you get past the hurdle of sending that first broadcast newsletter, so you can actually just get off the ground with as few steps as possible. So back on track. You have your pretty URL and possibly a QR code, and it sends people to your landing page. How do you actually make that landing page with a form that actually adds people to your list? I'm a software engineer with a computer science degree, and even I do not code up my own forms in HTML. It's just not a good use of time for anyone. You may have heard of lead pages, which is a software service that just makes lead pages, and they are beautiful, but they start at $37 a month, which if you're just getting started and you don't know what kind of return you're going to eventually have on this list, it probably doesn't make sense to use them. ConvertKit and Strikingly, which are two of the providers I'll talk about at the software section of this video, both make landing pages for you, which is a really big selling point for them. Because if you're not so tech savvy, having a tool to make your landing pages and having those landing pages automatically connected to your email list is going to be a big win and a big time saver. I am tech savvy, so I use another WordPress plugin to make forms on my company's existing website, and then I connect that to my email provider. Connecting those forms to the email provider was not fun or easy even for me, but I can say that it does not require a computer science degree to do it. You could do it if you're comfortable with technology, comfortable with code similar adjacent tasks. So wrapping up this section, you're going to make your landing page either on your website or with your email provider, and you're going to set up a pretty URL to forward to that landing page. And continuing our journey, what happens when a customer or potential subscriber gets to that landing page, puts in their email address, and hits submit? Well, you need to send them the freebie you offered them, obviously. The experts I follow recommend first sending the email to confirm the email address, and then once they do, they get a new email with the freebie, either as an attachment to that email or a link to a specific page on your website with it. I like the link version because I think emails with attachments are more likely to have deliverability issues, but that's getting to the edges of the scope of this video. And again, having that extra step, that extra email where your subscriber confirms their email address is something you can choose to do or not, or do it later. These emails that get sent based on some kind of trigger are called automations. Delivering a freebie is an example of an automation. I did something, in this case, hitting submit on that form, and that triggered me getting that email. I can do it today, my friend can do it next week, and we will both have the same experience. Automations are emails that get triggered by, a trigger. It can also be a series of emails, like one goes out right away, the next one I get 24 hours later, the next one maybe 48 hours later, or whatever. And if your freebie is an email course, it's definitely going to be a series. And actually, whether you promised an email course or not, I'm going to recommend making a multiple email welcome sequence. For me, as your subscriber, right now our relationship is very new. I saw some content of yours that I liked, you offered me a freebie, I decided to trust you with my email address, and you delivered in that trust by actually delivering the freebie. So far so good, but a month from now, I might not remember you at all. So you're going to want to create a welcome automation to strengthen our new relationship while it's new and hot and steamy. Though again, writing a longer welcome sequence is something you can postpone till you get past that hurdle of your first broadcast, but it's something I do really recommend doing soon. Okay, let's move on to the other type of email, broadcasts, sometimes just called newsletters. Automations and broadcasts need to be talked about together because they're the two types of emails that you send. While an automation is the same text being sent to one person now, another person another day, whenever the trigger gets triggered, broadcast emails get sent to everyone all at once. Newsletters are broadcast, with the keyword there being news. It has something to do with now, whether that's just like your personal weekly newsletter or you're announcing something like a sale. Broadcasts are relatively simple. You write the email, you send the email to all the people or a subgroup of all of your people. Send it now or schedule it for tomorrow. So what do you actually write? There are entire books and courses on this topic, and I promised you in this video the boiled down 5 steps you need to get started. So I'm going to do something maybe not that smart for a content creator and send you to a different content creator who is much better than me on this topic. Superfans author Pat Flynn has a freebie called the Email Marketing Cheat Sheet. And I don't think I can cover this topic better or more succinctly than he does there. So I encourage you to go to his website, smartpassiveincome.com, sign up for his newsletter, and then you'll get a link to a whole bunch of freebies of his, and look for that email marketing cheat sheet on the downloads page you get. Yeah, I really recommend it. If you want help on writing the actual emails. And that brings us to our last topic of software. I wanted this video to be platform independent, which is why we're just now talking about it at the end. Yes, you need an email provider. I'm not going to insult your intelligence or waste your time with why. I can pretty much guarantee that at some point you will want to change this provider. When I started my company, I used MailChimp. It was free and easy. And I was just sending emails to users when there was an update to our app. Over time, our list grew, and before I knew it, it was a couple $100 every time I wanted to send an email to my list. So time to change providers. Since then, I've used 5 different providers, and I'm going to recommend 3 of them in this video. But the point of the story is you can change. You will probably change, so don't worry too much about this decision now. The 3 I'm going to recommend, I have affiliate links with discounts on my starting an email list checklist. Now, these are affiliate links, which means if you use the link to sign up, I get a little money, which I appreciate because I did spend a lot of time researching and making this video. But they're not sponsors. No one has sponsored this video. No one is paying me just to recommend them. First up is customer.io. This is what I actually use. But it is not for the casual content creator. It is aimed more at enterprise and software developers. Negatives is it's very expensive if you're just starting out, though it balances out a bit if your list gets bigger. And also they do not make the landing pages for you. The positives are beautiful workflow controls, solid API, and they also send push notifications. You need to have an app to send push notifications to people. But I do. So the Simply Goals and Tasks app, and then I'm able to, in that same software, control when I'm sending push notifications or emails to my users. Next up is Kait, formerly ConvertKit. This seems to be the one to use right now. All of the big content creators, I see recommending them. Maybe for some of that affiliate kickback, I'm not so sure. But Kait is really an email provider. That is their main focus. In my opinion, they want to be easy to use and full-featured, and by trying to be both, they're kind of neither. I ended up needing help from a professional email marketer acquaintance when I was trying to use them for landing pages and setting up that first one. So I didn't find it that easy. But they do make the landing pages for you, or rather provide a tool, and then those landing pages are automatically connected to your email list, which again is going to be a big plus. My main problem with Kait is the price. The free version's kind of useless. And then the next one up is $25 a month for up to 1,000 subscribers. If you have a bigger list, I have 20,000 people on my list, then the price would go up to $150 a month. And it takes a fair amount to be getting back $150 a month from your email list. So for me, it doesn't make sense. But for you, if you were getting started, ConvertKit might be a really nice option for you. My third and perhaps strongest recommendation is Strikingly. Strikingly does web pages. I think that's their main thing, but they also do newsletters and a store and memberships and a whole bunch of other stuff. They think their customer service is the main reason to choose them. They take a lot of pride in their customer service, and I've talked to them and agree that it's top notch. But I think actually the price is the most compelling reason to choose Strikingly. Their highest tier, VIP, is $50 a month about. Actually, it goes down to $30 if you use my link. So for example, right now, if you're paying Shopify $30 a month and you're thinking about starting to pay Kait $30 a month, and you probably also have a web page that's got to be costing you at least $10 a month at least. Instead of having all of those bills, you could just have the one Strikingly bill for less. And that's going to be a bigger email list than you get from Kait, twice the size actually, and a genuinely nice looking and easy to build web page. And all those features that I'm not even going to talk about now, like memberships and chat, there's a bunch of things. So if you have a store, a mailing list, and a web page, Strikingly kind of becomes like a really, really compelling option to have all of those in one lower bill rather than paying 30 here, 30 here, 30 there. Now, if you have an email list of 20,000 like I do, even strikingly, the prices goes up. It does go up to over 100 at that point. Pretty much all email providers, their prices go up as you grow. So you have to look at that. You have to look at what is the next price up, and you got to look at your email size and the number of messages that they let you send. Those are going to be the two main limits. You don't want to get surprised like I did all those years ago when like I went from paying MailChimp $10 a month to suddenly it was hundreds. So like summing up option number 3 strikingly, I played with them a lot and I'm like thinking like this is really nice. Like how can I use this even though like I have a separate web page. And so it's a really strong choice, like I said, if you have those other bills already. And again, also, if you're not so technical, if you would really like someone holding your hand, their customer service will do that the best of the ones I've mentioned. Which matters because your time is valuable, and if you're going to spend a lot of time like banging your head against this software, that has a cost. Okay, so that is my checklist for starting your newsletter. Make a freebie, set up a landing page, write a welcome automation, write that first broadcast, and pick your software provider. Simply.Digital/email for all the key points and notes and the discount links. So you can knock out those 5 things and have your newsletter up and running. You can always fine tune it and improve it as you go, but you gotta get started. This will get you started. So the next time you hear a really great tip about something to do in your email list, you can actually do it rather than adding it to that growing like to-do list of things you want to do to eventually get started. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Hug. If you like the way I explain things, you'll probably also like my other videos. I mostly talk about productivity, but it varies. So I'll see you over there. Ciao.